What people don't understand about learning how to build an inside sales team is that poor positioning will tank your inside sales team. So in this video, we're gonna dive deeper into the ugly truth behind building an inside sales team, and we're gonna share top tips so that building your inside sales team becomes the best investment inside of your business. I'm LizJSimpson, founder of the Big Money Movement, accompanied by
Cheryl Brooks
and Heather Petherick,
our esteemed coaches at the Big Money Movement, where we help women entrepreneurs land corporate clients. And when we talk about inside sales teams, I think this conversation is so important because we converse with entrepreneurs, small business owners all the time. And so they're looking for how to expand their team, how to accelerate revenue, and what are the right roles to fill those gaps. And oftentimes they throw sales in this big homogenous box, right?
Right.
They're like, I want to hire sales.
Yeah, let me delegate that. Let me delegate that.
Right? We're like, what are the outcomes that you need for the business? What part of, when we talk about the funnel of your business, what parts of the sales process are you looking to hire for so that we can make sure we find the right individuals? So let's start out with defining what an inside sales team is. An inside sales team they are the individuals who are going to respond to leads that come into the business. So these are individuals who saw marketing material, they filled out a form, they've already taken action to show interest in your organization, your goods or services, and thus they're responding to that interest. Why this is unique is if you think of an outside sales team, these are individuals who are going out to the market. Maybe they're field sales, maybe they're making outbound sales calls, and then they are trying to educate the market or create interest in your goods or services. So that being said, when you think about the fact that your inside sales team is reacting to leads or individuals who have taken action, Heather, what are one of the first things that they should keep in mind?
Yeah, one of the first things that I would mention is often something that is overlooked or it's a mistake, and it kind of seems counterintuitive, so I want to make sure we talk about this.
Yes.
One of the things that can make or break the success of an inside sales rep's performance is knowing too much.
Now, this is good.
Yeah, it sounds maybe unkind or counterintuitive, but you think about the role. The role is to receive interest and to book the next action, which is likely a sales conversation or a discovery conversation with yourself as the consultant or business owner.
Yeah.
The challenge being that if an inside sales rep is receiving that phone call or that outreach from an interested party, of course, that party is going to have a number of questions about it. Could be about budget, timeline, features, benefits. It could be anything. And when an inside sales rep has been given too much information, sometimes they make the unknowing mistake of stepping in it, of over-promising, and then it sets the rest of the team on their heels of having to match whatever expectation was falsely created by an inside sales rep. So one of the kindest things we can do to set an inside sales rep up for success is give them the bare bones of what we do and who our ideal buyer is so that they can properly screen those incoming calls, but not create expectations that the organization later might have to renege on or fall flat on. So too much information is a bad thing for an inside sales rep.
I love it. It makes me think of an experience I had in a call center. So I was doing inside sales for a healthcare organization. And so our role was to book appointments for the field sales reps, right? And so it's interesting. I know we have talked about in other conversations how you have to know what the outcome is that you desire in each step of the sales process.
Yes.
Right? So, maybe top of the funnel, maybe I'm putting out insights so that someone will take action and fill out a form. And then once they fill out that form, maybe I'm trying to get them to take action to book a call.
Yes.
Or, so you have to know those steps. And so for us at that time, our role was to take someone from the phone to an in-person appointment. So my sale wasn't a deal closed or money. My sale was a booked appointment, right? And so with that being said, to your point, I found myself, because most of us want to help, the more that I knew, I would subconsciously sometimes talk about things, but then that would cannibalize the opportunity for the field sales rep. Because it's like, well, and people intuitively can tell, you got some information here. Why don't you just answer my questions? Why do I need to book the next step when I have a living, breathing human being right here who could serve me? And so to your point, the having limited information and not being able to answer those questions kept me in integrity to say, those are great questions that I'll document for your appointment when you talk to that individual who has more specialized expertise to serve you, right? And so I love that you're saying limited information actually serves in that role.
Yes. Yeah. And let's remember, buyers sometimes are very anxious to rush the process. They may have spent weeks or months researching possible providers. And so they've come to this point and they just want to get it going. Yeah. And so there is a temptation when you have an inside sales rep, if they know too much about the, what comes after in the sales process, when they're being peppered by questions from that anxious buyer with little patience, there is going to be a temptation for them to continue to answer those questions. Yeah. And that's not their role. Yeah. And we want to set them up for success. This is your role. This is what you say, defining what success is. It's booking an appointment, and that's success.
Love it. What are your thoughts, Cheryl, on this?
I think don't be a spoiler is what I heard from that whole conversation.
That's right. Yes.
Don't be a spoiler. So there's another step that you really want to consider, which is strong positioning in the marketplace, right? So your marketing team or you as a business owner have done all of this hard work to get yourself positioned really, really well with content and all of the things. And that should be a smooth storytelling transition to the inbound call that comes into the inside salesperson and the ability to book that call. What happens if you don't have that strong positioning and you don't have the content development out there is the calls come in and then there are these questions because there's some misalignment. I thought you did this.
Yes.
And then the person on the other end of the phone is saying, no, that's not what we do. And you've missed a whole opportunity where someone was taking action and they just either misread, misunderstood, or it was just misaligned in terms of the messaging that's in the marketplace. Yeah. So you don't want to miss out on that because we're trying to get you to the best investment. That's what we're talking about.
I want to add to that. When you said that, I realized I said that their goal was to book appointments, and I missed a key word: qualified appointments.
Yes.
Yeah, because when we're looking, like when I think about my role having been in inside sales or we're coaching clients, you don't want to just book appointments. I know we've talked about leaderboards and other conversations. And so if we will, the leaderboard is like, how many appointments did you book? And how many of those closed, qualified, right? And so that is the litmus to see you're not just booking anybody, but you're doing some diligence to make sure as you pass someone through the sales process that they're meant to be there, right? And so I love that you're saying that because that content becomes the anchor, right? It positions your organization in the best light to make sure that those calls that come in or the interest that comes in should be better qualified. And then I don't have to do a ton of diligence before I pass them on to the next step.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it's not a far cry. If you just look around us, if you look at Mercedes-Benz and their advertising, it says well-qualified buyers. You know why? Because they don't want people in there kicking tires. Our salespeople are trained, and we've invested in these salespeople, and we want the right buyers coming in. So that's a really great point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important. And when you talk about the content development piece, I also think as we talk about challenges that an organization, a small business owner might encounter is when you say we're not getting enough leads. Well, then what about our content development or positioning is off, that it's not resonating with the marketplace, so they're not taking action? Right. Or, so we might have poor pipelines. We don't have enough for the inside sales team to do. Or we talked about poor positioning where we have all this volume, but it's not qualified, right? Leads. And so I think those are just important points to hit.
I'm going to add one more point here because it dovetails directly from what you were just referring to, which is that culture of feedback, right? So understanding that your front line, those inside salespeople, whether they're entertaining calls or some other form of communication, they've got a lot of information in terms of what the prospect is saying to them when they kind of hit the ground. And so if they can come in and say, I don't know, I think this is not, I keep getting this type of conversation.
Or and questions.
These questions, right? So do we need to provide more information?
Yes.
Do we need to provide a better position, et cetera, et cetera? So having that culture of feedback really can help your inside sales team be the best investment.
I think that's gold. Like when we work with women business owners, and so Busy business owners are like, oh my gosh, the content wheel, what content am I going to put out? But because we're teaching our members, a structure around discovery calls and documentation and using a sales CRM, it's like, if you're having conversations with the marketplace, you don't ever have to guess about what to put out in marketing. Just take all of the context from those conversations and create content pieces that align with them. Love it. So now we've talked about the inside sales team, but let's go to the next part in the sales process. Let's talk about 4 tips to close more sales. Click that next video right now. We'll see you there. Bye.